beautiful evening here in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm Harry Cicma, alongside the legendary coach, also former player and tennis expert Tom Gullikson. And Madisen's match, a good charity here, giving back to a good cause. Dwayne Cheney helping to put this together. How do you like giving back to the community through this sport, Tom?
Well, Dwayne's been a good friend. This is the 6th year I've been doing the event. I lost my twin brother Tim to brain cancer, so it's obviously near and dear to my heart. And he does an unbelievable job organizing and running this event. The Landings is a great venue. My friend Paul D'Amico is the director of tennis here, and he does a great job also. And the whole community really gets behind Madisen and the event, and the funds raised are all going to help brain tumor patients and their families. So it's a terrific event.
And to know that your hard work on the tennis court as a coach, also a player, how does that feel to know that that hard work is going towards helping people? Because many people are playing tennis to win money, do it for themselves, but to do it for the community is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about tennis. I think you can use tennis as a vehicle to kind of give back, and we've all been fortunate to have a good career in tennis, both playing and coaching, and now it's time to help give back to great causes like Madisen's match and brain cancer. So, myself, Pern Forrest, Kathy Rinaldi, Jared Palmer, the Jensen brothers, got a great crew of cast of characters here, and we're going to have a great day tomorrow.
Speaking of cast of characters, we have Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Federer's having a little resurgence here. Murray, what do you think about men's tennis on the ATP Tour?
Well, and we got to put a plug in for Big John Isner. He just got back in the top 10. So Johnny's back in the top 10 now, which is great for American tennis, and we need more Americans to come up and join him. But when you're talking about Federer, you're talking about the best player ever, and he's had a bit of a resurgence with my old friend Stefan Edberg,
yes.
Kind of working on his serve and volley game a little bit. Federer's off to a really good start this year, and then obviously Nadal is just being Nadal, and Djokovic, had a little stumble at the beginning of the year, but he seems to be finding his form again. So really, men's tennis has never been stronger.
Do you see a comeback with the serve and volleying? It was so effective with Pat Rafter. He won 2 U.S. Opens, and Edberg won, a couple of U.S. Opens as well. I like serve and volleying. It wears on your body. Taylor Dent's a prime example of that, but I think it could be a good strategy. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think on the men's side, for sure, I think finishing a few more points at the net is definitely in the future of the game. I think when you look at the top 5 players and you see the amazing defensive skills they all have, defending the court so well, you've got to take advantage of your good balls and finish and have a little more courage to finish at the net. Otherwise, the points will last forever. So, I see men's tennis, occasionally sneaking in for serve and volley. These guys are serving like Raonic last night against Nadal, serving 140 miles an hour. Come on, you can't sneak in and knock off a floating chip that the guy was diving for.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see more volleying in men's tennis.
John Isner is such a good story. Played at Georgia. He didn't even win a singles title, but he is the best American right now and also a class act on the courts. What are your thoughts on Isner and what he's doing for American tennis to really keep them alive?
Yeah, no, I think John, his biggest challenge is keeping that big body healthy. When he's healthy, he can play very, very well. And witnessed 2 years ago in Davis Cup for Captain Courier in his first year as captain. John beat on red clay. He beat Federer, Wawrinka, Simone, and Tsonga, all on red clay. So, Big John can play when he's healthy and motivated, and hopefully he'll have some great success. Not only on the clay court season leading up to the French, but also at Wimbledon as well, where obviously we all remember that match he played for 3 days, and over 11-hour match where he won 72-70 in the 5th set or something like that.
Some of those Florida Open battles remind me of those. That were maybe 2 hours, not 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gosh. And then also college tennis as an option. It seems to be a good one. McEnroe went to college. A couple other greats went to college. Todd Martin, Mal Washington. What are your thoughts on playing D1 for a little while?
No, I think college tennis is definitely a pathway to the pro tour. There's all kinds of different ways of starting your career in professional tennis, and everybody's not mature enough physically or mentally and emotionally to turn pro when they're 18 years old and go out and be successful. So I think college tennis is a great pathway, and I think a lot of players should use college tennis as a pathway to the Pro Tour.
And your brother did such an amazing job with Pete Sampras, and I know you've helped Pete also, and he was my hero growing up. So what was it like being part of his career and just everything about Pete?
Well, Pete's a class act and a very humble guy. He kind of let his racket do the talking. You know, obviously he grew up in the era with Agassi, and Agassi had the flash and all this, but Pete just kind of was quiet, and he just went about his career in a quiet way and let his racket do the talking. Yeah, Pete's he was one of the great players of all time, no doubt. I put him up there, certainly with Roger. Roger at 17 slams, hard to argue with that, but certainly Pete's right up there with the all-time greats. And I think what people don't understand about Sampras was that he was such a great competitor. He had such a beautiful game and such a great serve, and he made it kind of look easy, but he was very disciplined, and he was so professional throughout his whole career.
And Jim Courier was during that age range, and many people said that he was sort of like the unsung hero. Nick Bollettieri kind of angled more with Agassi, and Courier went in the woods, some people said, with tires on his back and ran in Tampa. What do you think about Courier's game? How could that be inspiration for young American kids to just do it the old-fashioned Rocky Balboa way?
Yeah, well, Jim, he obviously competing with Agassi, Sampras, Michael Chang, he had to find his own niche. He was never going to return serve like Agassi and hit ground strokes like Agassi, and he probably wasn't going to serve and volley like Sampras. And he said, what can I do, to compete with these guys? So I've got to be super fit. So he was one of the first guys after Lendl, to get like super, super fit and mentally tough. I mean, you had to drive a stake through his heart to beat him, and kind of that dual weapon of physical fitness and mental toughness. I loved having him on my Davis Cup teams. He's won a lot of tough 5-set Davis Cup matches for us when I was captain, and he just brought an element of toughness to the team that really couldn't be underestimated. He was a great champion. He won 4 slams, lost in the finals of 3 others, and helped the U.S. win the Davis Cup twice. So Jim's a true champion on and off the court.
And how do you like the young American women? Sloane Stephens is hanging tough, and Serena's still there atop the women's tour for the USA.
Yeah, Serena, she's in a class by herself. Proved it again yesterday, beating up on Maria again. When she wants to play and she's motivated, she's certainly in a league by herself. Sloane, has got a lot of potential. Young Madison Keys also has a lot of potential, and we've got, I think, 11 girls maybe in the top 50 right now. So on the women's side, we're doing pretty well.
What's new with Tom Gullikson? Where can people find you, and what do you have going on?
Well, I'm working for the USTA down in Boca as one of the lead national coaches in Boca, and working a little bit with the pros, working some with the juniors, and also working some with the regional training centers and coaches education. So I'm wearing a few different hats and just trying to help American tennis get better.
Go red, white, and blue. I don't have my bandana on, but it's here. And thanks so much for everything with Madison's match. And Tom, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, we're looking forward to a big day tomorrow. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure. I'm Harry Cicma alongside Tom Gullikson here in beautiful Fort Myers, Florida.